This video was made possible by EA Game Changers. Hello there everybody, it is me XfreezerBunny and welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. So today we are checking out the brand new game pack for The Sims 4, Dream Home Designer. Now I did get early access to this pack as usual because I am an EA Game Changer, but I didn't really have a lot of time to cover it because I'm currently busy working on my CC. I'm actually working on the announcement for that really soon, so keep an eye out for that in a couple of days. But I didn't really expect to cover this pack as much because, like I said, I'm really busy with IRL work and also working on my Patreon and CC and all of that stuff. But this was a very happy surprise for me. As soon as I saw the trailer for this, I immediately just felt very excited because if you guys didn't know, I am actually an architecture graduate in real life and I do have personal experience working at a job site and at a architectural firm in real life. So yeah, did I ever tell you guys about the time I worked at a job site? I don't think I did actually, so let's get into that in this video. This is a 30-minute video, so we got time. But yeah, as soon as I got the pack, I literally immediately fell in love. That's the best way I can describe it. I really didn't have any expectations for it whatsoever because I didn't watch the live stream. I was way too busy to watch the live stream, so I came into the pack blind. I was blown away when I saw all of the items. I haven't really gotten that much into the gameplay yet, but I'm pretty sure the gameplay is also amazing as well. As you all know, the active careers are one of my favorite aspects in The Sims 4, and I will definitely be exploring more about that in my own personal gameplay. But for this pack, I decided to actually do a build to showcase it for the first time on the channel, and the build that I decided I wanted to do for this one was a construction site. So I don't know why, but for some reason with all of my early access builds, I tend to go for more creative builds this time. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm just really used to a lot of more realistic stuff in real life. As you all know, I have been doing a lot of freelance work as well, so that has taken up a lot of my time. You know, I get to be a little bit more creative in The Sims. So yeah, and I'm really excited to tell you guys the story of when I actually went to work at a job site. That's gonna be really interesting, but before that, I am also back with another giveaway. I know I just did a giveaway. The giveaway I have for the Courtyard Oasis pack is officially closed. The winner for that one has been contacted, so congratulations to the person who left this comment on that video. You have won yourself a copy of Courtyard Oasis, and at this point the codes have been dispatched and now I am ready for another giveaway. So I thought about doing kind of like a whole event for this, but I'm just way too busy. I do want June to really be focused on my CC creations, so as much as I wanted to celebrate, yeah, I just probably am going to do a regular kind of, you know, giveaway type thing. So as per usual, just leave a comment below and I will randomly choose a winner, and yeah, they will get a copy of Dream Home Decorator. Please make sure you include your contact information. Make sure you include your Twitter or Instagram contact information. All of the instructions for the giveaway will be in the description below, and I should be announcing the winner in a couple of days in one of my next videos. Also, really important, please make sure that your DMs are open, because this has happened to me many times before in previous giveaways where I chose the winner, their DMs were closed, there was no way to reach them, so I had to give away their code to someone else. If you don't want that to happen to you, just please make sure that you follow the instructions. Also, please be subscribed and do me a favor and like this video, so that would be highly appreciated. But yeah, what else do I have to say? The pack, like I said, really pleasant surprise. It was one of those moments where I legit, like, you know, my heart like skipped a beat when I opened the pack up and saw all of the items, because yeah, I've only really seen the trailer, and other than that there was really nothing else. So yeah, it was a really happy surprise for me. Is it just me? I feel like EA has been nailing their pack so far. I think that the Moroccan pack was really well done, and now we have this one, which is honestly one of my favorite packs. I'm not even going to think twice about saying that right now. I think this is one of my favorite packs ever, and it is a game pack. I'm not completely sold on game packs, but I absolutely love this pack. I think this is even better than some of the expansion packs, to be quite honest. But yeah, aside from the items, I'm really excited for the gameplay as well, and I think that is one of the main reasons why I decided to do a job site, is because this pack is heavily influenced by the architecture and interior design profession, IRL, and it's really interesting because I'm gonna go ahead and flex this a little bit, but a couple of months ago last year, I did make a tweet asking EA to make a pack about architecture, interior design. Probably a coincidence, to be quite honest, but you know what? I'm gonna say that I saw this pack coming. I knew it before everyone did. Okay, you heard it all here, folks. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, that's such a weird coincidence though, like. Yeah, it's really weird. I feel like I also had this feeling before they announced Snowy Escape. I had this weird feeling that we were gonna have a Japanese pack at some point as well, so it's really interesting. But I think I have rambled on quite a bit already at this point, but let's talk about that one time I worked at a job site. Okay, so yeah, never really talked much about this, but I spent 3 months on a construction site for my internship. If you guys didn't know, we are required to do an internship for a certain number of hours for, you know, our architecture degree before we can graduate. I graduated in late 2017 actually, and I started working full-time in 2018, but a couple of months before I graduated in late 2016, I actually applied for an apprenticeship at a job site, and I actually had 2 assignments for that internship. So first I was assigned at kind of like a townhouse development kind of area. I didn't spend that much time over there because by the time I got there, they were already like working on turning it over to the owners, but that was a very interesting experience. And then most of my time actually for my apprenticeship I spent at a job site for a very huge housing development. It was like a 40-floor condominium development, mixed use. It had like a shopping area and all of that stuff, so it was a huge project, and yeah, it was a really good learning experience for me. I got to meet so many amazing people, got to work with so many different professions. As we all say in the architecture profession, architecture is a multidisciplinary profession because you get to work with so many different people. So over there, 2 of my bosses were, one, we had a senior architect, and then we also had an engineer that was also our boss as well. And there were also interior designers, you know, plumbing, electricians, all of that stuff. So it was really interesting. You really get to talk with so many people. Of course, I didn't really get to do much. I was basically like just an assistant for the senior architect over there. But they did have quite a bit of site architects that, you know, I got to learn from. And yeah, like I said, it was such a good learning experience. There was one downside to that whole job that basically stopped me from, you know, going through and, you know, applying full time. Yeah, unfortunately, that was just way too far from where I lived at the time. So just to give you an idea, it would take me 2 to 3 hours to get from my home to the job site. It was actually crazy. I can't believe I survived like 4 months doing that, because literally 6 hours every day you would spend on like an Uber or like a Grab commuting. It was actually crazy. Yeah, that was probably the only reason why I declined to apply, because they did ask me if I wanted to apply, and I was like, you know what, I would love to, because these are, you know, pretty amazing people, but I'm probably gonna go crazy if I have to go through that on a daily basis. But yeah, like I said, it was such a great learning experience, and I did apply a lot of that into this build, because so at the job site, this doesn't really apply to every single job site because every situation is different, but where I worked for, the architects and engineers did live on site, because like I said, it was literally like so far away from civilization. They had like their own quarters, which we call the barracks. I think that's actually what I'm gonna call this build. Actually, it's the construction site barracks. And the barracks part is what we're actually building right now. It's basically this blue container area type structure. It's all temporary, and yeah, usually this would probably be for the construction workers, but for this build in particular, I just made it kind of like an overall free-for-all. Everyone who lives in this lot, this is a residential lot by the way, because there's no way to kind of make your own job site community lot type thing, even though I think if you can make this into an apartment, that would be so awesome. I don't know, is it too late for them to integrate like some sort of an apartment system in the game? I don't know, I feel like the apartments just need to be fleshed out more. So anyway, of course I get distracted, but like I was saying, yeah, where I worked at, most of the people who worked there also lived on site. Usually the construction workers would have a separate living quarters to kind of like the architects, engineers. That was the situation where I was from, but in this case I just had room for one barracks, so I just went with one. This house, this property, can accommodate a total of 10 Sims, and I did do separate quarters for the male and the female, because where I worked at, that was kind of like their situation over there for privacy, security reasons. So yeah, upstairs is for the women and it has 5 beds, and downstairs is for the men, it also has 5 beds as well. I tried to make it kind of different, you know. I definitely really enjoyed using the bunk beds. I think this is the first time I'm ever using them, but they're such a good space saver. And I also did some rooms for kind of like the more senior, you know, members of the team, I guess. So as you guys can see to the left right there, there's only one bed, and then there's a little office desk area underneath the bed. So I imagine that to be kind of like the bedroom for maybe like the chief engineer or something like that, maybe like the senior architect. And honestly, this was kind of an afterthought because I never really thought about this when I was designing this whole barracks area, but of course we needed to have a kitchen. And yeah, because it was an afterthought, I didn't have much room to work with, but I ended up making one of the bedrooms a little bit smaller so that we can fit in a little, you know, a little pantry kitchen area. Yeah, in my experience, people just had, you know, their own meals. It's either they bought their own meals from somewhere, because there were a lot of food stalls where we were from, or you know, people from their home would bring them food and stuff like that. We interns definitely ate out, because there were like restaurants all over the place anyway. But outside of the job site, like just outside, there were also like little food stalls where they can buy like cheap foods. I think they also made their own food actually in the barracks. So yeah, there's definitely that. I did consider using one of the existing food stalls in the game to kind of like simulate that experience, but none of them really looked like the ones that I saw where I worked at, so it was a no for me. And over here we have kind of like the main office area. Once again, this is another temporary structure. It is made out of recycled shipping containers, and this one looks so much like our office. Actually, it's actually kind of creepy. Yeah, but yeah, it was basically just pretty functional, not a lot of decorative stuff. And yeah, we had like a little work area in the middle right here for, you know, us who are architects. And I also remember working with one of the electrical engineers. He was actually sat next to me, so yeah, we were all really young. We were like undergraduates, so it was really fun actually. I have nothing but fond memories working there, even though, let me tell you, working at a job site is actually a lot of hard work. It's a lot of really hard physical work, because you will be walking around so much in the 30-degree heat, and you're all geared up, you know, you're wearing your safety hat, safety shoes, you have a vest on. It's really not a vacation for anyone. And yeah, basically what we do as architects, we do site inspections basically to keep track of the construction and the quality of the construction as well. Like I said, I've only been there for like 3 to 4 months, so I don't really know the ins and outs, but I definitely did assist on documenting the whole surveying process with my senior architect, which was an amazing person. She was also a she, by the way. It's really interesting because when we were there, she was literally like getting married, and basically she was gonna get married in like a couple of months. Honestly, I cannot imagine how she did all of that, you know, with the stress of getting married and with all of the stress going on at the job site. Literal boss lady. Yeah, I met a lot of really amazing women who are in the architecture profession when I worked at the job site, because you'll be surprised at how many women there are in the profession nowadays. But yeah, like I was saying, it's a lot of hard work, and yeah, you really have to be prepared for that. I actually didn't mind, because that's one of the things that is kind of enjoyable as well, is that you get to spend a lot of time outside. Oftentimes you will go through different parts of the building, and I have worked most of my professional life in an architectural firm, and honestly it is so boring. I hate to say this, I hope none of my coworkers see this, but it's honestly really boring most of the time in the firm, because you're literally sat in front of your computer for like 8 to 9 hours daily, and yeah, all you're doing is like you're sat in front of your computer doing floor plans, doing elevations and technical stuff. It is so boring. There's tons of revisions as well. Yeah, and they expect the impossible, you know, like do this in like 2 hours. That kind of stuff. It's honestly like crazy. Still really enjoyable. I love being an architect, but yeah, there's also like some downsides to it as well. Hopefully this paints a picture for those of you who had no idea about the profession, but overall it's an amazing experience, and I am really happy to be able to share that with you guys in this build. So having said that, let's actually get back to the build. So over here I did try to be a little bit more aesthetic by adding some accent walls. I used those black accent walls, which I will take away. I think I just stuck with one. And then over here I put kind of like a design area, which we never really had in my workplace, but I feel like it is kind of necessary because of the gameplay of, you know, Dream Home Decorator. I feel like a design area would be super necessary because you need to have these drafting tables, and I do have a problem with the drafting tables because to me they kind of just look like a reskin of one of the pre-existing desks mixed with the woodworking table. Honestly, drafting tables don't really look like that in real life, and trust me, I went to a school where they provided drafting tables for every student who was taking up architecture. I have a drafting table myself and it looks nothing like that, by the way. I had to put another one. I had to basically combine two drafting tables to make it look kind of vaguely like how they do in real life. And also the chairs, like I don't understand why they're not bar stools, you know, because drafting tables, we use high chairs, and in The Sims, the only chairs that work with the drafting tables in game are kind of like the regular dining chairs, which is way too low and they're way too restrictive. You have to be able to move around when you're sitting around a drafting table because you'll be sitting there for hours and you will have to change angles and stuff like that. You have to be able to rotate your chair. You have to be able to, you know, make it higher or lower. It's really weird. I guess none of them really considered that, or maybe it was like a technical limitation, or maybe like they were just really limited for some reason. But I would have been so happy if they nailed that. But you know, it's not a major detail. I'm not gonna say it's not a small detail because for me it's a big deal, but it's not something that ruins the pack for me, I guess is all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I love that design room. Lots of clutter. Actually, all of the office space has a lot of clutter. You'll be surprised at how crazy it all is. Lots of files, lots of plants all over the place. The design room does have some, you know, storage area for like paint or like for other materials. I would have loved to have incorporated some sort of printer as well, because at my job site we do have our own printer as well, and of course we needed to have a conference room as well, so I used one of those rooms for that. And also, I didn't mention it, but there's also a little locker room in the office area, and that is because whenever we go to the site itself, we need to change into our gear. Basically, we have to wear our vest and our safety shoes and safety hats, so that's where we usually change. There's usually an area right next to the entrance where we can change, and there's also a little toilet over there as well in the office area. And over here we are working on a construction crane. This is the first thing I actually did in this build. I thought we had like a crane item in debug, but we didn't for some reason. So this is the only one I can find. This is from base game, and this isn't even like a crane you would see in a job site. This is more of like a crane for a port. But yeah, this is the closest one I can find. I tried to do my own custom one using, you know, using items from Eco Lifestyle, but I did tell myself not to use any mods in this build. So in case you haven't noticed, I didn't use the tool mod and I didn't use the red shelf as well. I'm waiting for those to be patched in and then we can go back to using them. And this is also a limited pack only build as well. I forgot to mention. I probably should have said that during the start of this video. So yeah, this build only uses 6 packs. Other than Dream Home Decorator, we only used Get to Work, Discover University, Get Famous, Eco Lifestyle, and Parenthood. Those are the only packs that I used for this build. So yeah, actually most of the items in this build are probably from Get to Work or from Eco Lifestyle. I think the only thing that you really need Parenthood for is the sink. The other ones are just decorative stuff that you can probably live without. But yeah, this build is actually coming to an end. We didn't do much in terms of the landscaping. It's just mostly grass and dirt. and other kind of materials like concrete, and it's basically just the most realistic way I can make it in the game. Yeah, it's not the most aesthetic builds, but I did try to make it as realistic as I can. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to join the giveaway. You all have an awesome day. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.